section of track work I'm going to be remodeling, because these points over here I haven't used, and it pushes these lines out this way, and that then impedes how long these lines can be before this point, because I didn't want it, because if it had this point over here with the current arrangements to how far it gets pushed that way, it makes the curve go even wider with how wide these curved points are. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is removing these two crossover points that go underneath the bridge, and then moving this point further back to about here to then smoothen out the curve, so then the curve follows more parallel with these two lines here, and this point will also move further that way, so then it will be two tracks running, and it will then mean I'll then have a longer line on these two tracks, so then I can have a bit more room for the pendolino to be stored in. So I'll just get the camera set up and I'll do a time lapse of me adjusting the track. to then cut the rails at the right length, and then in theory just clip them together, slide them together with the rail So here is the new profiling for the tracks. I much prefer how this looks, as you can see the outside track follows the inside tracks a lot closer, so there's not the big gap in between. There's a little bit more of a gap here, but I'm not worried about that. I am much happier with how it looks now. So now it's gone to the next section of tracks I was going to be reworking and tweaking, so I'll show you that section and we'll start making the adjustments. This is just a little test running session, just to make sure that all the new track work is working well. So on the outside line, just going to send the Virgin Voyager through. And as you can see, it is a much smoother and more consistent curve, as it doesn't go as wide to then have to turn back in on itself. So if I just turn that back around, so yeah, as you can see, it is a much nicer and smoother curve for it to go into the station. So at this section of the layout, there's going to be the diesel depot, just where the Class 66 is and the Westerns are. And there are going to be 2 lanes over here that aren't in the shed. So the shed will cover these 2 lanes. You can just about see the outline of where it will go. But there will be 2 lanes that go here that will be a refueling point. So it will have, this will be in between the 2 lines. And I haven't decided whether this is going to be on the shed side or whether it's going to be on this side. I haven't decided yet. But anyway, the reworking I'm going to be doing with the track over here is to do with this point here. Because to get the 2 tracks going into the fueling point, I had this point here going out like that. But as you can see, it doesn't leave really enough room. So in order for there to be enough room, I would have to push this point out to here, which, as you can see, the length that you lose here would significantly decrease the length that you'll get in these bays. So instead, I had the idea that I could move this point to here. So it joins onto the end of this one, and that then this point would then join onto the end of it. So already then, as you can see, you've got the clearance between the 2 lines here. So you don't need to then push this further forward. So you then get longer lanes. So I could possibly store 2, maybe even 3 locos instead of 1 in each line. So that this change is going to be a little bit more simple than the changeover by the turntable, as all it requires me to do is just remove this little section of track and this point to then swap it over. Because I'm not going to start doing these tracks until I've built the shed, which I can't do at the moment because the printer's not working. So I need to get a new printer and then I'll be able to build the shed. Because I'm not sure if I've said before, but it was going to be the scale scenes kit. So it's going to be printed off and I'm going to use that going, as I've said, across these 2 lanes here. But I don't want to put these lines in until I know for certain how wide the shed is, as to whether this needs to move further over that way, which would then impact where those lines go. So what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to remove this section of track, remove this point, put it here, and then hopefully this section of track will then fit in the gap that's here. So I'll just get that going and let's see how it goes. So as you can see, I have made the changes now to the entrance to the diesel depot. As you can see here, this point has moved from this line here onto here, and it makes it a much smoother entrance into the fueling lines, which are these 2 lines here. Now I'm not going to, I think I've said this, I'm not sure if I've said this earlier, I'm not putting these 2 lines in until I've built the engine shed, so I know the room that I'll have in between. I've decided that I'm going to have this refueling building on this side rather than on this side, because I think it'll look better and it kind of keeps it all enclosed. And then I will have this one will go in between these 2 lanes here. Deal with that in a minute. So if I just zoom out and show you the lanes on it. Yes, you can see that this lane now, not having the point there, will make it a bit longer, so I can store another loco on there. But yeah, so this track is now pinned in all the way along. There's a little bit of a gap between these 2 bits where the rails join, but I don't want to pull this rail any further that way, because if I move this one out of the way, you can see it's already very close to be on the end. But yeah, so that gives you a nice idea of how it's going to look. So I'm not going to have any more progress on this bit of the layout for a while, as I just wanted to get this bit of track work done and sorted. I just wanted to say a big thank you to all of my new subscribers, as we have now reached 150 subscribers, which is quite a big milestone. There might not be as many updates as there has been recently on the channel, as you can tell, this update has taken a while to come out. I've had it filmed for a while, but just haven't had the time to edit it all together. So the updates might not be as frequent or as regular as they have been, but I will intend to at least get one update out every month, at least. So thank you for all of your support, and if you have enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave any comments or indeed like the video. And if you haven't subscribed, it's free. So it's just a little, it's just a button underneath the video. So once again, thank you for watching, and see you next time.